Headlines.
And I may rant. We'll see.
Okay.
Welcome back to Wilson versus Wilson, where we talk about politics, news, anything else that strikes our fancy. I'm Peter Wilson.
I'm Jess Wilson. We're going to start off the show in the usual manner with vice versa, where I read Peter some headlines and he gives me his opinion on those headlines. Or just a quick reaction. Most of them are sad. Got a few fun ones, we'll say. From WKYT. Employee hurt during attempted meat theft from Lexington Kroger, police say.
Hopefully not badly hurt.
I didn't read the story, so I don't know. Couldn't tell ya.
That's a very funny headline. Like, I too bad. Hopefully not. Like, it doesn't seem like hurt. That means they probably survived. That treat workers better, but like.
My opinion, steal the meat. I don't know. Go for it.
I feel bad for the worker, but good for whoever was stealing.
When I was interning for the police back in my hometown, I was on a ride along, and they were telling me about something that happened the day before. And they had gotten a shoplifting call to a Kroger, and they had gone in. And before they got there, some guy had tried to walk out with like $200 for the steaks, just holding them. He's like on his way out. And someone was like, you can't take those steaks. So like an employee battled the steaks away from him. And the police officer comes in and he walks out the store, frees a bird, and he's like, I'll be back tomorrow. Those are my steaks.
Sounds like a pretty high stakes case.
Well, yeah, thank you, Peter. Thanks. Excellent work. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, for real, I'm just steal the meat.
No, don't steal the meat.
Shoplift. I don't care.
Some farmer raised that cow.
But is that farmer getting an adequate cut of the pay for that cow? They've already gotten paid if it's cut up in a store.
They're getting the market price for that cow.
They're not getting any more money than if
I
you
know.
steal it or if you pay for it.
Yeah, but the store paid for it.
Okay. I'm not allowed to curse. I would say other words. Screw the store. Kroger makes billions of dollars a year. Why do I care?
Groceries is actually a pretty thin margin business.
I think you're not.
We're not talking oil here.
Supermarkets, Kroger, Meijer, Walmart. They literally build shoplifting.
Save a lot.
Sure. They literally build shoplifting into their profit margins.
I know.
They expect shoplifting.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you should shoplift.
No, I think you should.
There are food banks.
It's not hurting anyone to shoplift.
I would disagree with that. The employee was hurt.
This employee
literally in the headline.
This is a separate. I think the injury is separate.
Like, it's a victim.
The injury is a separate issue from the shoplifting. That I don't know how he was hurt. Didn't read the story. But
got hit on the head by flying baloney.
Shoplifting does not require injury.
Well, no, it doesn't.
Yeah, so that's my point.
Well, just because it doesn't physically hurt someone doesn't mean it's right.
I think it is.
Oh, you think just because something doesn't physically hurt someone?
No, that's not. You literally know that's not what I was saying. I think shoplifting is fine. As long as you're not stealing from a mom and pop store that like has that.
At what point does it stop being a mom and pop store?
Are you trying to say that Kroger is a mom and pop
store?
No. Okay.
I'm saying, where's your line?
My line is when you start making like millions of dollars in profit,
and then
CEO makes more money than I could ever look at.
And just because of that, it's okay to just take whatever.
Yeah, just shoplift. It's literally built into the profit margins.
But that doesn't mean you should do it. Just because the store has made allowances for it does not mean that that you personally should go out and shoplift.
I'm not saying I've ever shoplifted. I'm just saying go for it.
I strongly disagree. What's the next headline?
From WKBN, this is a network out of Ohio.
Okay.
We basically nuked a town, in quotes. 3 more chemicals discovered in Ohio train derailment.
We're going to talk about that more, right?
Yeah, we are.
It's not a good situation.
I picked that one because of the quote, we basically nuked a town.
Yeah. No, that's not good. And you shouldn't nuke a town. And whose quote is that?
It is a quote from...
Is that from a Norfolk Southern person?
I don't think it's from a Norfolk
Southern I was gonna
specifically.
Say.
It's from like a... if I remember, it's from an environmental health specialist who was in there looking at the area. And it's like...
I mean, the photos look terrible.
Yeah.
And
it's not good.
I'm kind of glad that Georgetown, Kentucky's water is from a spring in Georgetown, Kentucky, and not from like Kentucky or Ohio rivers, because it's going to screw up the water supply. That's a little scary. Something about this region of the country and corporations screwing up the water supply.
Well, it's not just here, but we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Next one. Also, not the last headline is the fun one. The rest of them are not fun.
You're like, thanks for the warning, so I don't burst out laughing at a really bad moment.
I'm just preparing you. Russia deports thousands of Ukrainian children. Investigators say that's a war crime. NPR.
Well, that's not good. Russia, you're being a real jerk.
Do you want more information?
Yes. Like where are they deporting them from and to?
From Ukraine to Russia.
Oh, so kidnapping.
Yes. There was a study that came out of Yale. They have a human rights lab where they use satellites, imaging technology to track and find evidence of war crimes. So it's a humanitarian lab. So they have tracked at least 6,000 Ukrainian children who have been deported into Russia, and they are being taken to either adoption centers, summer camps, or re-education camps. From that point, they're instilled. This is what the study says is happening. Okay. They are being instilled with Russian loyalty, education, and then adopted out to Russian families.
Well, that's terrible. Yeah. Yeah, Putin's like, how many different crimes can I commit? Now it's kidnapping. That's not right in any way.
Yeah, there's an additional thing that they touched on in the study is that Russia is being weirdly open about the fact that they're doing this.
Well, they're probably rebranding it just like they rebranded their special military operation.
Well, yeah, on their own social media, they're referring to it as a humanitarian aid program.
Get them out of the war zone so that they're safe.
Yeah.
I wonder why it's a war zone.
To adopt out orphaned children. I don't think they mentioned in any of that they're the ones orphaning the children, or that some of these children...
we're sorry we killed your parents, now we're going to pick your new parents.
Or that some of these children aren't orphans.
Yeah, it's kind of like who's checking.
Yeah, they found...
Well, actually, I guess not checking. It's Ukrainian, but... Yeah. Sorry, that was... Anyway.
Wrong time.
Sorry.
They've tracked at least 6,000 children, and they think there's more. And they're sending them all across. Like, there's one...
Russia's a big country.
...camp that is in Siberia.
Nothing ever good came of moving people to Siberia.
No.
It's not a great spot, from what I've heard. No, that's bad. Okay, what's next?
Tens of thousands protest Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's proposed judicial overhaul, CBS.
Is Netanyahu still Prime Minister?
As of this article yesterday, yes.
I thought he retired or something.
As of yesterday.
No, I don't know much about it. What's the judicial? Is it giving him a little more power?
So he and some of his ministers have a backlog of criminal charges against them. And he's been at odds with the judiciary for a while now. So now he is putting forward a bill for judicial overhaul in the legislature that would make give the legislature the ability to overrule Israel's Supreme Court by a simple majority.
So putting anybody that the legislature wants to be above the law.
Pretty much just removing both the checks and balances of the Supreme Court.
That's not a good idea. It is nice to know that we're not alone as a nation in, people trying to...
Yeah, in that particular...
And in presidents having legal issues. All our presidents seem to have legal issues, Yay. Yeah. I mean, we only have one president, but, I don't know. Give it a minute.
Give it a minute.
I think, hear me out. We re-elect Trump again. Maybe he'll do better. I'm kidding. I am... If you've watched the show, you know I'm not a huge fan of Trump.
I'm realizing anyone who's just listening can't hear the death stare I just gave Peter.
No.
That is... He's...
I am joking. Don't vote for Donald Trump. Don't talk about Donald Trump. Just, I don't know. Just don't purchase from his favorite store. Don't shop at McDonald's.
Yeah, hurt McDonald's profit margins. Get him where it hurts. Make McDonald's
Tell them to switch vendors so their ice cream machines work. I'm just saying, come
Make
on.
McDonald's pay $15 an hour. Get them.
The only thing I ever want from McDonald's, except occasionally their breakfast, is their ice cream.
Okay.
And the ice cream machine, and I know it's not the specific people's fault because they can't clean it because they've got to pay through the nose to Taylor or whoever. Is it Taylor?
What?
Whoever runs their ice cream machines. And personally, I think planned obsolescence is a terrible thing to do as a company. Why would you do that? Just make good stuff and people will buy from you. It worked for Yeti. Okay. Sorry.
Peter's angry about the McDonald's ice cream. For the record, this is a little off topic from our headlines, but they do force all franchisees to use a certain machine that can only be cleaned by certain people and has to go through a long, 12-hour cleaning process. So,
Heck, don't clean it.
no,
I'm fine with dirty ice cream.
Maybe not that. Maybe not that, because there's also been reports of roaches and stuff in the ice cream. So maybe.
I've said before, I would eat a roach.
Oh, okay. He did, in fact, say that, and for the record, it was a dirty, crusty, dead roach on the floor of an abandoned building.
I don't think I said I'd eat that roach.
No,
I probably did.
I pointed at this dead roach, and Peter looked at it and said, I'd eat a roach. I think that's a pretty clear connection.
Fix your ice cream machines. Replace your ice cream machine.
For sure.
Hand churn your ice cream. I don't care. Just have ice cream. Anyway, sorry, we should move on. What's the next?
The last headline, UK. Seth mixed up UK and UK. United Kingdom, not University of Kentucky. UK. Thief admits stealing thousands of chocolate Easter eggs. Associated Press.
From where? Did he just break into the Cadbury factory or something?
Well, he's 32 years old. His name is Jobby Poole.
Jobby Poole.
Jobby Poole.
Oh, he got bullied as a kid.
And Jobby Poole used a metal grinder to break the front gate
He's going hard.
of a warehouse, walked in, stole a semi-truck full of almost 200,000 Cadbury eggs.
I was right about Cadbury.
It's $38,000 worth of Cadbury eggs.
So here's the thing. I am not as big of an advocate for crime. I'm not an advocate for crime in the way that Jess sometimes is. But if you're going to commit crimes, make it funny and don't hurt people.
Okay, what?
And stealing 200,000 Cadbury eggs is hilarious. Yeah, I can respect that.
Do you want the end of his
Now,
story?
what did he do? But what is his end game? What do you do with 200,000 Cadbury eggs? Are you I'm gonna have a really big Easter egg hunt and advertise it by word of mouth so it doesn't get out?
So he took the semi truck and he drove out with the eggs, and then at some point later, I think it was not much long after, he realized the police were after him. So he just walked into the police station and sorry, I took him. And he is now in court for charges of criminal damage to the lock and theft. And as it would turn out, he's had multiple charges of theft beforehand. Yeah,
I feel like that's never your first one. You work your way up to stealing the semi-truck full of Cadbury eggs. That's funny. That reminds me. My favorite robbery that I know of personally in my hometown is somebody went to the Sunbelt Rentals and stole. I'm not advocating for theft, but if you're gonna do it, I appreciate it when it's done well. They thought it out. They steal a U-Haul. Mm-hmm. They take the U-Haul to the rental place, steal a forklift.
Okay.
They take the U-Haul and the forklift to a local bank, steal the ATM machine with the forklift, put it in the U-Haul, empty the ATM machine of cash, leave the forklift and the U-Haul in separate places, and the ATM machine now empty in a separate place. I don't think they ever caught them.
Yeah?
I can respect it. That's a now they probably did not get very much money because ATMs don't have they might have got a couple thousand, but their overhead was zero, right? Probably all they had to pay for was masks, and you can reuse those.
Yeah.
That's just that's just not okay. But in that case, props to you for pulling it off well.
This is my favorite bank. This is my favorite heist. It's a bank heist. And it's been a while since I've heard this story, but essentially what happened was this guy hired a bunch of people to come pass by in front of this bank wearing the same uniform. He gets in. He steals the money. He comes out in that uniform, wanders through the crowd of them to this river that was real close, to this reservoir river that was real close to the bank, blows up an inner tube, jumps in the river, rides the river down.
Gets away?
No, he eventually got caught, but like he got away that day. That day, and I think he got caught 2 weeks later. But
yeah, because I'm sure one of the people that he hired
wandered on through, got in the river.
I thought that I've seen that done in like
away.
Sitcoms and stuff. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's my favorite bank heist.
Yeah.
Quality.
No, I don't have a favorite bank heist other than the forklift one. I do. I just listed it. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No,
that's a heist.
And it was my hometown. And then it was so bad they renamed the bank. It was like Kentucky Bank, and now it's Stockyards Trust. I think they'd already renamed it, but
Yikes.
They happened right around the same time. And they're like, yeah, that's pretty embarrassing.
Yikes! Yeah.
I don't know. That's just funny.
It's quality crime.
Yeah. I mean, don't steal, but if you're gonna steal, make it funny. There used to be a column. One of the magazines I read had one that was called "Criminals Don't Have to Be Geniuses," and it was just lists of like dumb crimes. It's always a good read. Okay, what are we getting into discussion-wise? We're starting with what? Ohio?
We can. It's not just Ohio now, though. For the record.
There's been a couple more similar-ish.
Train derailments. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about trains.
I like trains.
Yeah.
Sorry, have you seen the ASDF movie?
Yes, yeah. I had a childhood, Peter.
I didn't see it until I was in college. But yeah, you.
It's because you were homeschooled.
Anyway.
No, yeah. So East Palestine, Ohio, there was a train derailment from Norfolk Southern is the railing company, and the train cars contained, at least 4 or 5 different hazardous materials that when the train derailed were into the environment of East Palestine. The town was evacuated. People have since been told that they can come home. I'm not so sure that's a good idea. Yeah. So, and this is the thing, is what caused the derailment was there was an error with one of the axles in the wheel, so that's part of the wheel that makes it
overheated, right? An overheated bearing, I think, is what I heard.
Yeah, overheated bearing. There was an error with one of the axles, and they're using really, really old, like designed in 1856, I think, brakes. So they could not stop in time shortly before they derailed. They got a notice of the error, but there was no way they were going to be able to stop that train. So that's where we're at with Ohio. There have been a couple more train derailments. The other big one is in Texas, which they had hazardous materials on the Texas train, but they didn't breach containment.
So it's not nearly as...
No, it didn't have to be evacuated from my understanding. But there was a truck driver killed because the train derailed because there was a semi-truck crossing the tracks where there was no crossing bars or warning lights or signage, and the driver was killed. Everyone else, I believe, is uninjured.
Probably if they're on... Yeah. Yeah, well, we've talked about trains before because of the strikes and the things and...
Almost strikes.
Yeah. The threats of strikes and the legislation to make the strike not happen.
Striking, which it's come out since the Ohio derailment that one of the things that the rail workers and the unions were advocating for was increased safety measures on the trains and improved braking and a stop to the, I can't remember the name of the process of rail staffing that they use, but there's a specific system of rail staffing that basically runs these trains on a graveyard crew.
And it might include, I think I saw that it might include inspection.
Huh?
Inspection as well.
Yes.
It cuts down on the amount of time you have to inspect.
Cuts down on the amount of time you have to inspect cuts down on the requirements for inspections, cuts down on the safety requirements for the trains, so on and so forth.
Not to say that if they finished the strike some other way, this specific thing would have been avoided, but typically safety regulations, especially on something like trains, are there for a reason. And sure, some safety regulations might be overbearing in some cases, but especially with trains carry a lot of things. I remember partly because there's the Bluegrass Army Depot right near Richmond. There's a little more heightened awareness of chemical leaks, I think, in this area.
Yeah, just a little bit of clarifying information for people who aren't from around Richmond, Eastern Kentucky area. There is the Bluegrass
Army Depot.
That's the word. Bluegrass Army Depot, which is one of only 2 chemical weapons stockpiles in the United States. Both are working on destroying their chemical weapons stockpiles, but until last year, there was VX and sarin. Before that, there was also mustard gas. They've destroyed the mustard gas. They've now destroyed the VX. They're working on destroying the rest of the sarin, which should be done by December of this year if they keep on project time.
Yeah.
So, there's like special alert systems, special awareness around the depot, which is where we are right now, about what that looks like and what the kind of processes are. There's also buildings that are safe havens from those chemicals in the event of a breach.
But my sister did nursing at UK, and one of the things they did was it was a scenario if a train derailed like by the Fayette Mall, in a large mall in Lexington, Kentucky, which is just up the road from Richmond. And it's interesting to think about, right? Probably East Palestine, Ohio, doesn't have anything like that sort of procedure ready to go, right? And also something this big would screw up Lexington if it happened in a city that size. It would still be bad because it's a matter of what was it? Chloride was the main one, but 3 different chemicals that.
There was hydrogen chloride. There was
vinyl something, I think.
Yeah, hold on. Let me pull up the list. I can say all the chemicals, what they are, but kind of the business of it is that the chemicals. I can name the specific ones once I get them pulled up, but they cause irritation. If people hadn't evacuated, the burning of one of the chemicals makes hydrogen chloride. So they would have died from inhaling that. But just the other chemicals being exposed to them in such large quantities could cause death. Anyways, and now people are being told that they can go back to their homes. So
I feel like they probably were careful before they said that.
You would think.
I would think, because there's a much bigger black eye to be had if you tell people to go back and they start dying.
Yeah, well, the issue is that now the chemicals are at a point where
it would be maybe more long-term effects.
Yeah, exactly. So, because some of them are carcinogens, and specifically lung cancer, I think it was kidney cancer was one of the other ones. There's specific types of cancer that these cause, and environmental health experts are thinking that we'll probably see a cancer cluster within the next 20 to 25 years in that area. It's also killing wildlife.
Yeah, it sounds almost like Eastern Kentucky. Similar issues there.
Yeah, it's killed, I think it's 3,500 fish so far have been reported dead. Where's the list of chemicals? Yeah, so vinyl chloride, butyl acrylate, ethyl hexyl acrylate, and ethylene glycol, and monobutyl ethers are in the soil and water. Residents are still reporting that they are having those eye and lung irritation issues. It's not at a point of being lethal, but those who have returned are reporting those things. And the additional issue is that from some of the environmental health experts on the ground, what's being reported is that the water wasn't tested before the residents were told they could come back, specifically like private wells, private water sources, that Norfolk Southern has hired contractors that will test the water, but you have to apply for it through the local government, the EPA, who will then contact Norfolk Southern to come test your private well. So in the meantime, can you drink the water at your house? I don't know. Probably not.
Doesn't seem like I would want. Well, I guess it is good that Norfolk Southern should have to be the ones that are paying and making sure that all of the cleanup and like testing after happens because it's their fault.
Yeah, there was the additional. People were told that you can have your house tested if you want, but you can come back now. And they did not test the houses, did not test the buildings around the town before they told people they could come back. Just kind of, they were like, well, the air quality is decent enough that it's not going to kill people.
Yeah. It shouldn't be the bar. But yeah, basically that situation sucks. And probably I think it goes more to there's not that many things that I think the government should like really take a firmer hold on, but I think it seems like the railroads are not doing a great job.
Not to the fault of the rail workers, but the regulations on the railroads are not where they need to be.
And especially with something that's as heavily, foundationally built by the government, which is what the railroad started from. I mean, if you look up the history of railroads, basically they were given huge tracts of land cheap way back when, and then they could give out parcels along the railway or sell parcels along the railroad, which, to be fair, for cheap. Like, it wasn't like they were being exorbitant back then, and then those got settled up. So it's not. This is a company that it's not like they built this just themselves, right? A lot of companies have more
massive government subsidiaries.
Yeah, they're in large part subsidized by the government, so it's not bad to say, hey, maybe you should take a stronger look at inspection, at making sure they're staffed better. And it's just not a great situation, and hopefully this will cause some changes. Hopefully.
Yeah.
It's also not getting as much, like, it's kind of running second in the news.
Yeah, which I don't think it should be, personally.
It is running second to balloons.
Yeah, to balloons. But touching back on East Palestine, I don't know if you heard about this. There was a reporter with News Nation who was arrested during the press conference that Governor DeWine gave about East Palestine.
I saw that.
Yes. Do you know much about what happened?
No, I saw like parts of the video. Excuse me.
Yeah. So the governor wasn't speaking yet, so he was doing a live stand-up, doing his live stand-up bit, and then he realized the governor was speaking. He was like, "Oh, I gotta quiet down, wrap this up. Then I'm gonna go back and listen, record." As he finished his stand-up, local police came up and were like, "You're being too loud. You need to leave." And he said, "I'm not gonna leave. I'm a journalist. I have a right to be here. I finished my stand-up. I'm going to listen now." And they said, "No, you're going to leave." And that's when there's videos of it. They tried to arrest him and force him out of the building. And then they got him into another room and threw him on the ground. So
Here's a little.
He was in prison, not in prison. He was held for like 10 hours, I think.
Here's a little advice for local police departments and local governments. Probably the worst move you can do. Well, hopefully, one of the worst movies you can do PR wise is make it appear that you're not being transparent. Because also, everybody hates that. Even though people hate journalists, everybody hates it when it feels like their government officials are hiding stuff.
Yeah.
And that really gets the conspiracy.
People may not like journalists, but
it's
a really bad move, PR-wise, to arrest a nationally known journalist on camera.
And everything's on camera these days.
Yeah.
So,
there's someone there, you can hear there's a lady in the background being like, that man is a national network journalist. You can't be doing this. You cannot.
And even if it's not a national network journalist, don't do that.
Yeah, don't throw people to the ground who are just trying to do their jobs.
And he's holding the governor is holding a press conference. He wants the press to be there, right? He should want the press to be there. It's being televised, presumably, right? Don't make the controversy the problem that already exists. Don't create another one.
Yeah.
That's just And sometimes politicians don't. They can't see past their own ego.
For the record, DeWine has come out later and been like, I did not tell them to arrest that guy. I did not authorize
Yeah, like what
that.
are you like? Kind of like what are you doing?
It's like why?
Yeah. Yeah. That doesn't make sense. And hopefully that was seems like it was a rogue action.
Yeah.
But don't do.
Reports about his arrest say that News Nation has said that he still could be charged, with
Talking?
with trespass and something else. I can't remember.
Which, if he was trespassing,
I'm gonna say, he probably won't be charged, given that the governor of Ohio was like, "Why would you arrest him?" So it's looking like it's gonna be fine from this point on, in terms of his charges. But bad idea, man.
Yeah. What were we talking next? Balloons?
Yeah, we can talk balloons.
Okay, so when did this? I don't remember
know,
quite when this started, but we talked
2
about this in the last
ago.
podcast, which unfortunately wasn't able to be put up, which is too bad because it was a banger. But like always, but it's kind of developed a little bit since then. A Chinese weather balloon is what we're going to call it, so we stay a little neutral. Floated across the entirety of the mainland U.S. China says it floated off course inadvertently, and it got shot down in Myrtle Beach by the U.S. Air Force.
Well, I will say, for the record, even if it was just a normal weather balloon, there's an international convention that says, leave other people's weather balloons alone. They're allowed to have weather balloons flying over international airspace.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the fact that they're like, oh, it blew off course, a little weird.
Yeah,
Little
like
weird.
maybe.
Because if that was just a normal weather balloon, you wouldn't have to worry about that particularly.
Yeah. So it floated over most of the nation, and then they shot it down. And now China is not happy about that. They say that they are. This is from. Where's this originally from? Bloomberg. At a briefing Wednesday, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin repeated Beijing's view that the Chinese balloon downed by a U.S. jet off of the South Carolina coast this month had inadvertently floated over the country after being blown off course. He criticized the Biden administration's decision to take it out and said that the move would have consequences. That's stupid. Sorry. That is not an intelligent way to look at it. Sure, it may have inadvertently floated off course. Too bad. It got shot down. You should work at making your balloons not float off course over an entire nation that you're not on great terms with.
That's okay, but again, international convention, if it's a normal weather balloon, flying over other countries' airspace is a protected thing. The issue is that it doesn't appear to be a normal weather balloon.
Yeah, they were being funky with it.
It's a little too big to be a normal weather balloon, and after shooting it down, there's self-destruct components in it, so I feel like maybe it's not just a weather balloon.
Why do you care about your weather data that much? You're like, man, we really wanted to know if it was going to be sunny in Montana on Saturday.
I mean, there's reasons to study the weather patterns over international airspace because they can predict how weather works around the globe. But the weird part is, the rest of it.
And I get that you got to kind of put on your best, we're big and tough, don't shoot down our weather balloons. But it seems like the sort of thing that it would be okay to just kind of let go. You're China.
And it's also just a weird way of talking about it. You shot down our weather balloon, there will be consequences.
You shot down our weather balloon after it had floated over the entire country.
I feel like a more normal response would be something like, you shot down our weather balloon. Why would you do that? It's a weather balloon. Why?
We hate you now.
We're just studying the weather. Why would, can you let us put up another weather balloon? I feel like confusion would be a more normal response than outright, there will be consequences.
The further thing that was said was China is strongly opposed to this and will take countermeasures against relevant U.S. entities. They're going to ban helium or something that have undermined our sovereignty and security to firmly safeguard our sovereignty and legitimate. They use sovereignty twice in one sentence. He's a better press writer. And legitimate rights and interests. Actually, that could have been a translation. That may not be his fault.
Why, if it's an issue, why would a normal weather balloon be an issue of sovereignty? Is my question.
Yeah. I think the U.S. Air Force knows what they're doing when they shoot down stuff. Probably most of the time.
Well, no, even if it was a normal, that's my thing. Yeah. If it's a normal weather balloon, why is it an issue of why would it be an issue of Chinese sovereignty? I'm studying political science. I've taken my international relations courses.
SARS.
I don't get it, huh?
Yeah. The area above a nation is its own airspace. It's fine. You can have it.
Huh?
We don't want your weather balloons.
No, there's an international convention.
You don't shoot down weather balloons. It's not a weather balloon.
Yes, you leave it alone because it's a weather balloon. But why would it be an issue of national sovereignty to just shoot down a normal weather balloon? Just put up another weather balloon if that's the problem.
You've got money. You're China.
Put up another. If the issue is you shot down our weather balloon, be like, man, that sucks. We're going to put another one up. Can you not shoot down the next one?
Yeah, and maybe don't. Presumably, there's also stuff about. Presumably, countries communicate. This is an interesting question about when they're sending stuff over. If they this is for this research project from this university, that feels.
It depends on the case, but sometimes yeah, sometimes no.
Yeah, the U.S. also shot down 2 things, and NORAD is not ruling out 2 other things since then that were not from China, and were maybe private. I'm thinking it was probably idiots with helium, would be my guess. Right? But they're not ruling out extraterrestrials. I love that, because here's the thing. It's not extraterrestrials. If there's something extraterrestrial, it's not going to be a balloon. Right?
They're just giving us a little gift.
I think if I was the U.S. Air Force, my favorite thing to do would be screw with the public over aliens. For a fact, Area 51 is just nothing. Right now. It used to probably have something. Right? But it's been storage for years of their most mundane crap. And they're just we can't let you in there. And
I think Area 51 still is a testing ground.
Probably.
For flight materials, but
yeah. I don't know.
Whatever.
But I don't know. If I was the public information guy or the public affairs guy for the U.S. Air Force, I would end every press conference with, we're not going to rule out extraterrestrials here. And you're talking about building a new, what is it?
I have to say, still my favorite thing, the funniest thing I've ever seen is from when there was that online joke about raiding Area 51, and there was going to be the anime girls running in with the Naruto run. There was an actual presentation given where a U.S. airman in uniform had to give a demonstration on what the Naruto run was.
If you see people doing this, shoot them.
There's pictures of him in front of this projector where it's talking about the memes of Area 51. That is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
That's pretty funny.
I love it. I still have saved a picture. Someone took pictures of celebrities from their own Snapchats where they're on a run or something, and added a Snapchat caption to make it look like they actually said it, where they're yeah, I'm gonna go raid Area 51. I have a collage of them. It's so funny.
I saw a meme related to the shooting down balloons of the U.S. Air Force, and it was this heart-shaped balloon, and it was some play on the roses are red, violets are blue. Oh, it was roses are red, violets are blue. We're about to get shot down by an F-22 or something like that. I was that is excellent.
Quality.
I've heard things about the FAA. FAA. Yeah, I was trying to figure out FFA or FAA. Very different. Future Farmers versus Federal Aviation Administration. That make me think that it maybe isn't the best at its job, which is terrifying. But, hey, better than the railroads. Anyway. No, don't Be careful about balloons. Don't send up prank balloons. They'll get shot down. That's what you want. It costs, apparently, I think it was like $500,000 for the missiles they used to shoot down the most recent ones. And they missed once, which is just embarrassing. Like, that pilot is never living that down.
It's
so a balloon.
Funny.
It's
not even
it's like
going
target
that
practice.
Fast.
And they say they lost a missile.
Where did it go? Did they just put it in the ocean?
It was over the Great Lakes. This was not the first one. This was the second, like, we don't know what it is one. Oh.
Yes.
Decline that call right now. Answer it later.
Okay.
Nothing.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you want to move into our last
Yeah, what
segment?
were we going to talk about? State of the Union.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody's favorite speech.
I honestly thought it went decently well, his speech. Or at least the portion where he was actually talking. I thought that went decently well.
Yeah. Why so?
I mean, the State of the Union, essentially the point is to brag on your accomplishments and make promises for the future, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. And he did make some good points about accomplishments that have been made in the last 2 years. And I agree with a lot of the points he made for things to strive for going forward. Like, I think, the Junk Fees Act that he talked about. Do you remember that?
No.
There's a Junk Fees Act that he was campaigning for during his speech, during one portion of it, to limit junk fees. Credit card late fees, late cancellation fees, resort fees at hotels that are not resorts.
Yeah.
Fees for switching between cell carrier providers.
That'd be nice.
Exactly.
Well, I'm not going to switch. Verizon is America's
but
best
if you
network.
want to switch, removing that fee, a lot of those kinds, junk fees, the extra fees that they squeeze money out of people with. Airline fees and ticket fees were also one he brought up, where he was like eliminating service fees on ticket sales and making them show what the fee is going to be up front. Same with airline sales.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that. I think that's a really great idea, honestly.
That seems like a simple sort of just customer being...
Yeah, I think it's a simple way to improve the financial situations of a lot of Americans. Because I know I lose if I'm in a pinch in a financial situation 1 month, I can only transfer money from my savings to my checkings 5 times in a month. If I'm trying to save money and I do small portions instead of sending all my money over, and I run out because I have medical bills or I have car bills, anything like that, I lose $5 for every exchange up above that. Why? I don't know why I'm losing the $5 for that.
Yeah.
What
is it hard? What is the bank? What is the bank's expense in moving that? Probably nothing.
It's nothing. And it's just a way to squeeze extra money out of people who are struggling financially. Same with like closing out cell contracts, same with service fees and ticket fees. I just think that's duplicitous. Because I remember when I bought tickets to go see Elton John, my actual ticket was $58 a person.
Yeah.
I paid $150 for 2 tickets because they charged an extra $50+ for service fees.
Yeah. I feel like that's also something that should be hopefully should be decently bipartisan, right?
Yeah,
a lot of people are pissed off at Ticketmaster, specifically.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And nobody likes those switching fees at your cell phone carriers. And honestly, that's T-Mobile's whole thing, right? Is that we don't like what the price we say is the price you'll get.
Mm-hmm. And they'll buy out your contract with other companies for you to leave, which is,
that's a solid business move for them because it probably gets them a lot of customers. They also have free MLB TV, which is awesome.
And I think you can always tell whether or not a bill is bipartisan by who stands up and claps during the speech.
Yeah.
For the Junk Fees Act, everyone was standing.
Yeah.
I think that's
Which
great.
should say something to companies, right? If you're just I think the reason they get away with that is that so many people are just lazy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to bother switching my cell phone carrier, so I'll be okay with the extra $275 a month.
Yeah, and I don't.
I'm not really sure what that does.
Just laziness. Some of it is just like you have no idea that fee is there until you're already in the process of paying.
Yeah.
Like bank late fees. One of the things is he wants to bring them down 75% from $30 to $8 for late credit card fees, to help people get out of debt.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just looking through this transcript
No, you're
too.
okay. Trying to think of other things. Another thing he was championing was a decrease in prescription drug costs. Absolutely. Hell yeah. I'm all for that. Like, insulin costs $10 a vial, $13 with packaging, maybe is what he was saying. But they charge $400 a month for insulin.
He talks a lot about junk fees.
Yeah, that was a significant portion of
That's a smart thing to grab onto, because who's going to be like, oh, no, that's vitally important? Like, nobody, right?
Yeah.
Like, heck, I don't love government changing things, but that sounds like that's just saying be honest to your customers. One of the reasons I love Waffle House, the prices on the menu are the exact prices you pay.
Yep.
They include sales tax in there. Why can't everybody do that? Just do that. Like, come on. It's not that hard. Waffle House is open all of the time. They're surviving without including sales tax. Not that in every way you want to be like Waffle House, but it's worked for them. Include sales tax in your prices. That's not that hard. That's a simple, and people will be like, that's kind of nice. And anytime you can get the customer right after buying something from you to say, oh, that's nice. Like, that's good. That's a positive memory, right? That's a core memory. It goes into a little slot in their brain. Anyway, and then they're like, I always want to shop at Albertsons because they include sales tax in the price. Anyway, sponsor us, Albertsons. There's not an Albertsons in the state.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. I will say, I think, one of the things Joe Biden is known for speaking wise is his speech impediment. It was a pretty clear and concise speech. He didn't really have any major flubs, which I think goes to his credit, but there was also a moment that I thought was really interesting. There was a point where he brought up an unofficial policy that had been pitched to him, essentially, that had been sent to him and his desk that he read through from unnamed someone in the Republican Party, expressing plans to gut Medicare and Medicaid. So he brought that up and was like, I know this is an official policy, but I know there's some of you that want to do this. If you don't believe me, email my office. I'll send you a copy of the proposal. He had the Republicans yelling.
That was a savvy political move.
Exactly. He had the Republicans yelling back at him, no, we're not going to do that. None of us want that. And he was like, oh, so then you're not? Can I get you all to promise tonight that you won't try to gut Medicare and Medicaid? They were like, yeah, we can promise. He said, great, we just solved an issue right here. Everyone stood up. Everyone was clapping except for Mitch McConnell. He was sitting there
Mitch McConnell knows,
looking like a dead tortoise. I'm not going to lie to you. But he brought it up a few more times after that, and he was like, clearly after tonight, that's not an issue, right? Like, we cleared that up.
I would imagine Mitch McConnell must be pissed because he's done that sort of thing. I'm sure he's done similar things like that dozens of times that have worked well. Because he's like, I know you hate Mitch McConnell.
I do.
But in terms of intelligent politician to get what he wants, and this is why you hate him, he's good at it. He's not.
Well, I don't hate him. I don't hate him because he's good at his job. I hate him because he uses that to do evil things.
Yeah, but he is effective at doing what he wants to do.
I don't hate him because he's effective. I don't like his plans.
Yeah, but that is. I feel like there's been a lot of bumbling from the Biden administration, and I feel like the State of the Union was not that.
No, that was very.
Which don't heckle. Don't heckle the State of the Union.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. Sometimes you need to shut your mouth, girly pop. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know why you're screaming in the middle of the State of the Union.
Here's the thing. People did it to Trump, and they shouldn't have done it to Trump, and they shouldn't have done it to Biden. It is never good for a country when you are just feeling the need to be disruptive in the middle of other people's speeches. If you want, there is a response that is just as televised, just about as many people watch it. I think. I don't know. When we watch the State of the Union, we always watch the other party's response too. It gets news coverage too. You've picked someone who will give your side of the story, and sure, it's canned, but so is the State of the Union.
Because people won't interview Marjorie Taylor Greene because she's crazy. So she's like, I'm just gonna scream. Which, like, I felt that, but don't.
So, like, I get it, but...
I get the urge to scream. But control yourself. Control yourself. It also just, like... I don't know if you have watched any of it or if you've just read the transcript. But while she's screaming, she's also sitting in the back corner in a big, furry, fluffy white coat.
Looking all Cruella de Vil.
Looking like a Bond villain. Why? Why? What purpose does that serve?
This is not about every Republican or every... I mean, it's true of both parties at this point. I notice it more because I follow the Republican Party more closely. And because they have some of the more ridiculous cases of this, which is people who are clearly in Congress for attention. Marjorie Taylor Greene's a great example. Matt Gaetz is a great example. Because here's the thing. If Matt Gaetz was sensible, right? If he was, if he had an ounce of dignity, he wouldn't have Venmo'd underage girls for sex. But, or maybe, I think underage. Which is, again, not proven in a court of law, but seems like he did it. So I don't want to say that it's, like, proved.
The evidence is there.
At any rate, he's a sketchy person.
Which,
and
for the record, he doesn't even really seem that interested in governing. Like, he seems to be more into his streaming and content creation platform, which, like, okay, I don't like you, go do that
which
instead.
Almost none of these politicians are in there solely to govern the country better. Bad people are drawn to power. And it sucks that way. But you can at least have some standards, and Marjorie Taylor Greene shouldn't clear those standards. Lauren Boebert shouldn't clear those standards. Matt Gaetz certainly shouldn't clear those standards. I said this in the podcast that didn't make it out, but character still matters, and it affects... There's nothing that makes me want to vote for someone more over... Like, there's issues that I care about deeply, and will have a very hard that I won't vote for someone if they don't align to some extent with me on them. But nothing will make the secondary issues, if them not aligning with those, character matters way more than those. And if someone's character is, because in a lot of ways, like if someone's character does not line up with what they're saying they're going to support, then they're probably not going to support that, right? And if their character is them having zero integrity in their personal life or their public life, then it doesn't matter what they tell you because it's probably a lie. So you can cheer at their lines, at their, we want freedom, we care about your family, we care about this and that. But if they don't appear to be the sort of person that would tell the truth, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they say they're going to support every cause you like. If they seem to be the sort of person that lies incessantly, then why in the world would you vote for them? And just don't. It's easy to look at the people right on the other side, right, and say, well, I don't want to support that. You don't have to support that. You don't have to vote for that. But you don't have to vote for the other person either, right? Often the best choice is neither of the two choices, right? There are more than two choices usually. And sometimes like a person is decent and their policies are decent, and you just have to bite the bullet and vote for them even though it could be better. But if someone's not telling you the truth, they're not going to tell the truth about anything. Or they might tell the truth about a few things. But who are you to know, right? Anyway. But no, don't heckle the State of the Union speech. That never seems like a good idea. It never makes you look classy. It never makes you look intelligent.
No, and I couldn't even hear what she was heckling the one time that it was really bad. All I heard was the end of China, and then someone said, "It's your fault."
China is
And I don't know. No, she said something before that, and I was like,
yelling China is your fault is kind of hilarious.
I tried to. No.
Yeah.
No. She yelled something. The sentence she yelled ended with China. Someone else yelled back at her, "It's your fault." I have no idea what she said. I tried to replay and slow it down to hear. No idea. Everyone else is around them going, "Order!"
You know what I think would solve
Biden's just.
You know what I think would solve our congressional issues?
What?
They take out some offices, right? And they install a little ring. And 2 go in, 2 come out. Whoever bleeds or, if they're bleeding or unconscious, that's when the fight ends, right? Just get some healthy rage out of the way and put your fists where your mouth are, or where their mouth is.
I think we've talked about this on the show before. It is... God, what is the name of the country? You'll know what I'm talking about. The country that China claims is a part of it, and it's like, and we're not.
You mean the country that West Taiwan claims is part of it?
What?
No, it's Taiwan, right? Or
Is it Taiwan?
Yes, I think so,
Taiwan?
because they call it Chinese Taipei.
Yeah. Okay, Taiwan. The Taiwanese government has something like that, where it's just like a thing of this is the way you champion your bills if you're really passionate about something. You start a fist fight.
Okay, but make it orderly make it orderly. Probably don't have cameras in there. Well, maybe have cameras in there just in case it gets too wild. Keep it clean. But here's the thing, because you
gonna supply them with boxing gloves?
Oh yeah, no, it's not bare knuckle. We are a classy country and we should behave as such.
Okay, no, I think it's classy for the Taiwanese governors to go and duke it out in their suits.
But they do the congressional baseball game every year, right? It's one of my favorite traditions. I just think that's cool that they're 60-year-old people.
They're like, all right, we'll play
strike
baseball.
out this other senator. That's cool. And I think the Democrats, I forget. For a while, the Democrats were dominating because they had a minor league pitcher, a former minor league pitcher who was on. And then he either got, I don't know. The Republicans have won a few recently, and they practice. It's not just they go out; they practice because when Steve Scalise got shot, he was shot at
the game. Yeah,
he was shot at a practice for the Republican side, which isn't funny, but
it's not funny that he got shot, but it is. It is funny to imagine all these 60-year-old men just.
A lot of the rage around Washington is probably somewhat manufactured, right? Some of it's not, because I'm sure people are pissed off at Marjorie Taylor Greene because she's so unprofessional. She'd be unprofessional in any profession, and she's in one where she should be far more professional than she is. Now, to be fair, have you ever seen the campaign ads from Jefferson and Adams?
Huh?
Look them up. You won't like them.
Okay.
But look up Jefferson Adams nasty campaign ads.
Okay.
They called each other some very wrong things. But it was just, in some ways it's reassuring because it's it's not new. But we should probably move to the last segment.
Yeah, our last segment, it's the same as the one that we weren't able to air, which is favorite jokes. I'm going to tell my favorite dad joke. It goes like this. I will start. Peter, do you know when, birds fly in that V shape, why one side is always longer than the other? Do you know why one side's always longer?
Why?
Because there's more birds on that side.
I didn't laugh the first time. I won't laugh now.
You didn't laugh.
Okay.
You didn't laugh the first 3 times I told that joke. It's still my favorite joke.
Okay. Here's mine. So, Moth walks into a cardiologist's office. Cardiologist says, "What's up, Jeff?" The Moth's name is Jeff. And Jeff says, "Oh, dude, it's been rough lately. I've just been down. My marriage is on the rocks. Me and the missus, we're not hitting it off the way we used to. Some mornings I wake up, I roll over and I'm like, this is just a husk of the moth I married. And honestly, neither of us, I feel like we're both too tired to put in the effort to change this, even if we wanted to. But we're also too tired to do anything about it. Neither of us are going to get out. And my son, he has so much potential. He has so much talent. He's smart, right? He's really gifted in some things, but he just won't put the effort into going out and doing things that he should. And at this point, the cardiologist stops him and is like, "Hey, I'm a cardiologist. Like, I get that this is something you should definitely talk to someone about, but it should be like a licensed mental health professional or a family therapist or something of that kind. This really isn't my area, and I'm glad you trust me with this, but you really should. So why are you here to see me, a cardiologist?" And Jeff continues, and he says, "And I could be mad at my son for not fulfilling his potential, but then I look at my life, and I wake up and I look at myself in the mirror, and I say, what have you done? Like, what have you accomplished with your life?" And I look back at all the things that I wanted to do when I was a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, or bushy-winged 20-year-old, and I look and I see that almost none of them have been accomplished. Like, I wanted a family, but then I look at my family and I say, didn't want this family. And my daughter's doing fine, but we never hear from her. And sometimes I think that's why she's doing fine. She's achieving things. She's out getting stuff done. She's a doer. She's a goer. And again, the cardiologist stops and is like, "Yo, dude, this is messed up, but like, you need to get this out, but you need to talk to like somebody this is their specialty. So why are you here at my cardiologist's office?" And Jeff goes, "The light was on."
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Anyway, tune in again next week.
Clapping, by the way. Ryan, do you have a joke you'd like to tell?
Oh, come on, Ryan.
Nah, come on. I know you have the jokes.
I really don't.
Okay, well.
Whatever. No jokes from Ryan, I guess.
Check back in next time.
Yeah, maybe we'll make him tell a joke next time.
Yeah, or we'll figure something else out.
So this has been Wilson v. Wilson. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.